Welcome to User and I, the channel where I explore all things UX and UI design, and today we're talking about the Gestalt Principle of continuation. This principle describes the way that eyes tend to follow path sequences in order to identify relationships between elements. The best way to explain this one is with an example. So we have two paths here. They're all similar shapes. One of them is a curve going from top left to bottom right, and the other one is a straight line going from bottom left to top right. And what our eyes does is that it will follow each individual path. It won't get lost in the middle, and continuation also is another principle that overrides other principles. If we start to take into account the principle of similarity here, our eyes are still following the path from top left to bottom right and from bottom left to top right. Our eyes will follow the simplest path regardless of what the shapes are, regardless of what the proximity is. And what this allows us to do as designers is create paths with elements using groups. I'll give you 2 seconds to quickly think, what kind of UI elements have we designed in the past, or do we use often that communicate groups using paths? If you said forms, you'd be correct. Here's a screenshot from a form I designed in a previous video. What we can see here is that because of the path that the form inputs take, there's continuation here. Our eyes will start at the top of the page and they go all the way down, following the path of the similar elements that we've created. We can also see that here, continuation also takes place in elements we can't see. In this carousel area in the middle of the page, we know for a very good chance that there's going to be more rectangles on the far right. This is also where the proximity or similarity takes place, because even though it's cut off, we know that there are rectangles at the end. One thing to note about some of the Gestalt principles is that there will be overlaps, and that's okay. What they all encompass here is forms of communication and how we can do that for our users. This is another example taken from the Argos landing page. Continuation takes place here because we see that the different elements are designed in exactly the same way and follow a path from left to right, and we can also make out that continuation takes place at the bottom because it's a grid going from top to the bottom, even though the TV screens at the bottom are cut off. So in your designs, think about how you can make continuation work in your favor. Yes, we've seen a few examples with carousel items and we've seen a few examples from grid items, but are there any other ways that you think you could work them? At this point, you've seen quite a few principles, so which one seems to be your favorite? We've only got 2 more left in our series, and for me, it's been really interesting just to understand exactly what's going on when I'm designing behind closed doors, because with all of us, we've been doing this in some way, shape or form, but it's really nice to be informed and to understand the theory behind it. We're going to be tackling Figma and ground next. Stick with me, like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.